If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your beer.
Follow the leader when the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Girl, you know we belong together. I don't have no time for you to be playing with my heart like this. You'll be mine forever, baby. You just we belong together. And you know that I'm right. Why do you play with my heart? Why do you play with my mind? Said we'd be forever. Said it never died. How could you love me and leave me and never say goodbye? When I can't sleep at night without holding you tight. Girl, each time I try, I just break down and die. Pain in my head, oh, I'd rather be dead. Spinning around and around. Oh, we love to the end of the road.
Put your lighters up. Put your cell phone light up.
It's unnatural. You belong to me. I belong to you.
Welcome back into the final hour of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. We still got a lot to talk about, a lot of trending topics, a lot of headlines, a lot of classics tonight. Shout out to Boys to Men. I saw a conversation on social media and I was like, wow, people really, really, really don't know. They really don't remember. They were like, was Boys to Men even really that hot? Man, come on. I need you guys to tap in just a little bit. Just a little. I understand. But listen, Andy,
You know what it is?
what is it?
Your generation and generations beforehand. I know you're on social media, but in comparison to millennials and what is it, Gen Z?
Uh-huh.
They're predominantly on social media. So I think their narratives and their experiences get highlighted the most. Because your generation and, generations, boomers and all that.
I feel like it's a lot of old Gen X people on
Do
there
you?
doing dumb stuff. I do.
Okay.
I really do. I feel like they are out there, and you can always tell, I feel like, when people are of a certain age and they're posting on social media, especially Instagram, their pictures almost always going to be blurry. They are probably just starting to experiment with filters, but for whatever reasons, it's the filters from like 2 years ago. So it has that like haze look on it that it doesn't look right. And they're always going to be really up close to their face because they don't know how to take a proper selfie and back up on it.
You're speaking facts.
These are, and you come across them all the time, and you're like, does that look right to you? That's your whole thing.
But see,
you're a Gen X, huh? You are.
But see, that's how they use social media, though. They're probably not on Twitter conversing with randoms
They
about
are.
news. Okay.
They are.
I
You know,
stand to be
they
corrected.
Are. Here's the. Listen, they might have migrated back to Facebook. A couple of them were. I mean, who's
Facebook? I give you that.
I think some of them make their way to Twitter, and especially, you know why? Because Facebook and Instagram are obviously attached.
Mhm.
And, you can post something on your story on Instagram as
Yeah.
well as your Facebook. So I think those type of things are things that bring them over into the other things. Actually, here's the funny thing. TikTok, right? Because we've been talking about TikTok a lot. Do you know what the age group is of the
Speak on it.
fastest growing use of users is? 35 to 41.
Millennials still.
Still millennials, but moving up. Remember, initially, a couple years ago, TikTok's average user, the biggest groups were,
Or
you know,
kids.
yeah, 17 and under, certainly, like for sure, teenagers. And now it is the millennials and the olds
They're late
jumping
to the
into their
party. They're
territory,
late to
of
the party,
course.
you
And they're
know.
going to turn up and run it into the ground.
Right. But I mean, I stand corrected, but I do think, I mean, if we're talking numbers wise, I don't know what the stats are.
There's no way that Gen X
Yeah.
could be bigger than the millennials. You know,
Right.
we are the small little
Hmm.
crust in the middle of the sandwich.
So it's
or
not
something.
enough of y'all, you know what I'm saying,
even
backing
do
up
that.
a Boys to Men or
Mm-mm.
something like that. So
You know, but I mean, I don't think Boyz II Men is worried. I feel like they were one of the early ones to kind of have, before it popped off. They had a residency in Vegas for a minute, or maybe it was just a run of shows, but they definitely did something there. They were on the crux of that. They spent some time there because they, much like we were talking about with the comedians earlier, Boyz II Men at a certain point became a group that people considered, even though they were obviously R&B, a lot of people cast them as a pop group, you know, or something for the others. You know, it was a lot of controversy.
it wasn't black folks talking about they was pop.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't?
Mm-hmm. They
I
felt that they
guess.
did, because you got to think Boyz II Men and Jodeci came out around the same time. They toured together early on. Remember, I told you it was that MC Hammer, TLC, Boyz II Men, Jodeci. That was a crazy, amazing tour and show. And the thing was, people started comparing, you know, Bad Boys, Jodeci. They had the tattoos and the boots. We're so tattooed out, we don't even realize. But back then, a guy could have one tattoo on his forearm and it was like, bad boy, oh my God, it's going down. You know, now people are blasted head to toe, but it wasn't like that then. And so I think their clean cut image, especially when their songs went pop up the charts, like that one we just played, I think people felt away.
So clean cut equals pop.
And for some, yeah. Yeah. If you think about it, you know, what do the pop girls always do when they want to assert their independence and they want to showcase that they have stepped and grown up? They get a little raunchy. They step into hip hop. You know, Christina Aguilera had Dirty. Miley Cyrus had Bangers. That's the way it is. So. Renia Black says Jill is right. As long as there are weddings, Boyz II Men will survive forever. That is facts. That is facts. Oh, when we come forward, we are going to get to one of my favorite callers. Fahima is on the line. We're going to talk to her on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. On the line, we have Fahima. Welcome in. How are you, Fahima?
Hey, Jill. How are you?
I'm amazing. Happy
Well,
Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you as well. Actually, it's Friday here.
Oh, that's right.
But I wanted to comment on the notion of who is exactly on social media. And I really think it really depends upon the person. I don't think there's a particular demographic. It depends upon the individual. For example, everybody knows Molly Bell, who's in her 70s, and she is considered an influencer, and she has a presence on Facebook and Instagram. I remember in 2008, I was doing workforce development, and I'd have people setting up emails, and they were like, "Oh, well, I don't know my password. I get my grandbaby to set up my password." And for the past couple of months, I've been on in these X spaces, and there is a lot of people who are older that are on in these Twitter spaces creating content. And so it really it's the individual, because there's a lot of young people who are not on Instagram, and many of them are not on Instagram because maybe their parents won't allow them to. And then also, to be honest, I've only been able to get one of my friends, well, two people, and one or two of my friends to get who are actually on Twitter to actually come into these spaces. And so really it depends upon the person and their personality, but I don't think it's a particular demographic. It's really a particular type. I don't want to say profile, but people that are interested in current events and certain things. They may be more inclined to be on
to tap
TikTok,
in.
Yeah, TikTok and Instagram and what have you. So I really don't think it's a particular profile. It's a particular type of person.
Are you on TikTok?
I have a TikTok account, and I only use it to view content. The same thing for Facebook and Instagram, but I have a greater presence on Twitter, as you know. But I only use Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to view stuff. Like I can check out things that are streamed on Facebook Live, and I only had gotten the Instagram when the students were protesting at Howard, so that I could be in communication with them. And those are just basic. Those accounts are simply to see certain stuff. One of my friends' ex-husband was a comedian. He had posted his stuff on TikTok, so then I got a TikTok account. But I don't use. But I have a greater presence on Twitter.
But here's the thing: you're there though, and even if it's just consuming content, you have found content that appeals to you, like you said, and you are a part of all of them. You could have joined Instagram, and then once the protests were over or things of that nature, you could have pieced out to it, but you stayed and you found some
Right.
value in it.
And see, that's my point. I'm an older person. I'm not. I'm on the tail end of the boomers.
So that, I mean, yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I think that, I mean, listen, our phones are so intertwined and social media in our lives at this point. How can you not? Really?
But there are people who are younger than me. I have friends who are younger than me, and they may be, oh, well, I have a Facebook, but I don't use it. I have a Twitter account, but I don't use it. And I'm looking again. I'm pointing out Molly Bell, who's in her 70s, and she has a major presence, and she's an influencer. So it really depends on the person, and it's not a particular age demographic.
Yeah, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. People that are willing to step out there and adventure. Andy?
Okay, so within a particular age demographic, right? I don't see a boomer, right, coming into a music conversation. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see a boomer going back and forth with youngsters about the relevancy of a Boys to Men. You get what I'm saying?
Well, the thing is that you're not, you don't have well, I'm assuming, but I don't think you have a presence on these platforms, and that stuff is going on. I'm not saying they're all in the same age group, but there are discussions and spaces about music.
Spaces don't count, though. I'm not counting spaces. That's different.
Spaces. You're discounting spaces.
I'm discounting spaces because, people are actually like talking, right? That's like a Clubhouse kind of situation. I mean, actual tweets going back and forth.
Well, but remember, Annie, before Spaces, you were able to communicate. That's what people were doing. And now Spaces has a streaming feature. There's a lot of stuff that people are doing. They're playing music in Spaces. In fact, there's one that I'm in on Sunday mornings where we're doing poetry and music all day. There's a poet that's in London, and she has this space where we do poetry and music every Sunday morning. And people are sharing their music, new music, and they're sharing their poetry.
So, I mean, like you said, it's just about, because a lot of times the hesitancy from people, I'm not just going to say older or whatever, just people in general, their hesitancy is not wanting to learn a new skill set or platform. It's just like, it just seems like a headache and not wanting to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, you're right, because there's a new one called Chatter, and I'm not about to join Chatter because
right.
I have enough. But let me just say this music and poetry space that I'm in on Sundays, do you have people that are across the age demographic? There are Gen Xers, there's boomers, and there's millennials, and they are sharing their music and they're sharing poetry.
Well, I like that people can find community. I do think as we move forward, one of the bigger things, not that we haven't already seen it, but community is very important, I feel, in the next phase of social media as we continue to niche down and widen out, however you want to term it.
And I think that people are just using the technology to meet their needs and to build community. Because we're talking about 200 and 300 people in a space. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about 5 or 10 people, 200 or 300 in a space. I mean, what I'm finding is a lot of it is mainly used for political building. Like when, your last point, when Jay-Z's movie came out, The Book of Clarence, mm-hmm. he had a space which I attended where he had the director and he was there and we were discussing the film.
Jameis Daniels, and it didn't help. But I'm just playing. Unfortunately, the film didn't do too well. I think that people were confused about what they thought it was about and what the message of it was going to be.
Well, let me just say this. Maybe a lot of people, because of the marketing, but from what I understand, everybody that was in that space, it was a couple of hundred, not to say that makes a dent in it, they all went out to see the film. And the fact that you can actually be in a virtual space with the film director and Jay-Z about a movie he has coming out, I mean, That's
No,
dope.
it's incredible. And that is one thing I will say. One thing that Jay-Z will do when it comes to these film projects and things like that, he knows the power of social media. And this isn't, he did the same thing with The Harder They Fall and another project a time before that. He has jumped into spaces before and will have the conversations. And it's always exciting because you so rarely get to hear from Jay-Z.
Yeah, and the thing is that I've been doing radio for like 20 or 30 years, but I've been spending more time having interesting because I'm semi-retired now. I've been spending more time having interesting conversations and organizing with people in these spaces. I'm talking about like, a couple of hundred people. Then to some degree, I've been derelict in my duties to radio.
Well, I mean, obviously they appreciate your input. As audio and these different technologies continue to evolve, people are looking for the same things in a lot of ways that we've always looked for, just the medium with which we'll access it and these people will come together within community is just changing. That's what I think ultimately.
But I'll always have time to call into RSVP.
Well, girl, you missed the announcement, huh? Tonight is the last. So for anyone else that missed it or whatever, want to let you guys know that tonight is the last night for RSVP here on KBLA.
What are you talking about, Jill?
I have some family just some things that I need to take care of that unfortunately are not going to allow me to continue to be here, but I am still part of the KBLA family. KBLA is always family, and they will continue to bring fire conversation and lots of things to you. And I'm still going to be on social media. We are connected on social media, so you guys make sure to follow me. But yeah, tonight is the last night of RSVP.
Oh man, that's a bummer. It's messed up.
It's not. I mean, it's not messed up. It's not messed up. It's just sometimes life is lifing. I really.
No, I understand.
Oh, yeah.
I understand. Well, Mabel, can't you do your show once a week? Like maybe move to a weekend?
Listen, you better talk to my boss. Hit up Mr. Tavis Smiley and say we want Jill. Let's try and work something out. Just like listen. You never know what the future may hold. Just right now, it's just really complicated and it's just been really difficult. But I appreciate Tavis for giving me this platform, for being supportive of me. Like I said, it has been nothing but family connecting with listeners like you and everyone that jumps into the chat and all of these things. So, I'm very thankful for the opportunity and the connections that I've made here. So, you never know what'll happen down the line. This station is growing.
Jill, let me just say I am very glad to have connected with you, and I will stay connected to you on social media. I appreciate you and salute to you.
Thank you so much, Fahima. I love talking to you. Listen, one thing I appreciate, I didn't know how everyone was going to feel about me when I first stepped into this chair. There's a lot of love that has been through this station through various people, but everyone welcome me with open arms. You send me topics sometimes. People give me a lot of feedback and I appreciate it. And, the support lives on. I'm still out here. We don't know what the future will hold. So I appreciate it. Shout out to Renia Black in the chat. She said, oh my goodness, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Urban Spinster, I appreciate you. Down. Adam Milan, I do too. Adam says, that's some unfortunate news. You have made this show so nice, Jill. I appreciate it. GG Sweet, I love you. I've been a fan of you for a long time. She says, you will be missed. Wishing you the best. Thank you. I appreciate it. And Renia says, well, Jill, I hope your channel grows. Thank you, Tavis, for a wonderful host like Jill Munroe. Thank you. I appreciate it all. And, I'm around. Like I said, we never know what the future may hold, but it has been.
Have you thought about maybe launching something look, Don Lemon, his contract was canceled. He's just launching a podcast. Have you thought about maybe doing a podcast on a different platform?
Before Jill answers that.
Andy
Jill
got you.
answers that. You know what I'm saying? Jill is still tapped into the industry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's going to be a void if she's not on here.
Hear me out, though. Hear me out. Normally on Thursdays we would play interviews that Jill does with certain celebrities or whatnot. So, you know what I'm saying? She's still going to be interviewing your favorite celebrities on YouTube. I don't know what the platform is on YouTube.
Stiletto Jill. Hit me up at Stiletto Jill. I'll be there. And like I said, you never know what the future may hold. This has been such an amazing opportunity, such a great experience that, you know, life sometimes, but we are family, and I'm locked into all of you, and you know, I'm still gonna be locked into KBLA to get my news, you know, to get my updates. We are in an important year, so we need to be right here locked in, because who else is going to take care of us in that regard? So, you know, we got this.
Well, all the best to you, my lady, and I'll see you on the internet.
Most definitely. Absolutely. I appreciate you so much. Still send me stuff, because I love to hear it. I love to connect with you. So, you know.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. So shout out to everybody. You know, I dropped it at the end of the first hour, I think, a little bit bittersweet, but I appreciate you guys all so much. And this show has been amazing. And, you know, the station is amazing. So it don't stop, it don't quit, it don't slow down, and neither do these stories, because I'm not going out on no poop butt stuff. I still got more trending topics and headlines going on for you guys. I've been debating, should we talk about the royal stuff, because that stuff is a mess going on over in the UK with whatever is happening. We know that Kate Middleton, the Duchess, hasn't been seen in public in quite some time, since December. We know that they put out that photoshopped image that AP and all of the others like, nope, we can't use it. We cannot in good faith have this image out there. Well, there's a lot of rumors that are coming out, a lot of speculation, and one of them is that Prince William may be having an affair with a former friend of Kate Middleton's, someone that actually was a neighbor, lived very close by, and that she and her, now see, we talk about age gaps. This woman, Kate Middleton's friend, is a 39-year-old former model named Sarah Rose Chombley. I'm probably jacking up her last name. And she is married to a 63-year-old man. We'll get into a little bit more Royals drama. We're going to get to this Charlemagne and Stephen A. Smith commentary on Madam VP, plus more trending topics and headlines, all on the other side. You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Maybe I'll forgive you. Maybe you'll try. We shouldn't be happy together forever. You and I. You love me again like you loved me before. This time I want you to love me much more. This time instead, just come to my bed and maybe just don't let me down. Although we go to the end of the road, still I can't let go, I can't let go, baby. Say that you
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Tyreek Wynn. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. A former member of a longtime funk band that had its greatest success in the early 80s has reportedly died. TMZ reports former Gap band member Anthony Baby Gap Walker died as a result of complications from a neck surgery, stating that Walker's brother confirmed the news. Walker joined the Gap band around the time of the group's biggest hits, including Burn Rubber, Party Train, and You Dropped a Bomb on Me. Walker later joined Gap X, which is comprised of former Gap members. Gap X posted a tribute to Walker on their Instagram page. Walker was 60 years old. Megan Thee Stallion is gearing up for a tour this summer. On Wednesday, the rapper announced the Hot Girl Summer Tour, which kicks off in May. Although she hasn't shared the official dates, she did say she'll be hitting New York City, Chicago, Atlanta, and Phoenix, among other cities. Megan said the official dates will be announced soon. That's the latest. I'm Tyreek Wynn on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Temperatures getting low, but demand remaining high? You need Indeed. Their all-in-one platform helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all from one place. And Indeed's interview tool lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from their website. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
If we're the ones disproportionately impacted by these climate catastrophes,
Why should we be silent?
turning up the volume all year long on the climate conversation for KBLA Talk 1580.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over. And if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer duster. Love it or your money back.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
The thing no one tells you about periods is that your flow changes every day, and so should your tampon size. Tampax has 5 absorbencies to match your changing flow. If it hurts to remove, go down a size. If it leaks, go up a size. Only Tampax has a leak guard braid to help give you up to 100% leak and odor-free protection. All-day comfort and protection for under $5 a month. Based on average U.S. consumer usage at manufacturer suggested price. However, pricing is at the sole discretion of the retailer. Excludes 8
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah! Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single Silver Unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount with 4 lines all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity. Because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times that made us laugh outweigh them bad. I thought we'd get to see forever, but forever's gone away. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. I don't know where this road is going to lead.
Welcome back into the final hour, literally, of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Really appreciate everyone that dropped into the chat. Fania with the phone call. Did I say Fania? Let me slow down. Fahima with the phone call. All of that. I appreciate it, you guys. You've made me feel so welcome. And again, we are all still connected here. Okay, let's get into this commentary from Stephen A. Smith and Charlemagne the God. Charlemagne was recently on Stephen A.'s podcast, The Stephen A. Smith Show, and the subject came up of Vice President Kamala Harris. And the two had a conversation about why they feel that Kamala, Madam Vice President, has not connected to the constituents. And yeah, let's hear what they have to say.
I just wish people could see the Kamala Harris that you get when you just having a conversation with her.
That is exactly why I don't believe in her. Exactly that. Man. Because I'm not questioning her credentials. Mm-hmm. I'm not questioning her ability to deliver and resonate in terms of a message. My problem is you waited too long not to. Yeah. You know, you VP, you can't do but so much. You got to flow along with what the administration asked you to do. So I blame them more than I blame her.
There was a way for her to come in, I don't want to say a heel turn, but like a turn in her, the character that we saw. Because you had Nikki Haley running around saying we should have chills up our spine.
Right.
We should be scared to death of a Kamala Harris presidency. You're only saying that because she's black. You're only saying that because she's black and she's a woman. Like, there's no other thing to fear, because if she got into the White House and she became president, her policies wouldn't be any different than any other Democrat. Right. So what is there to fear other than that she's a black woman? She should have took that opening and ran with it.
So here's my thing with this. I am not a person that necessarily believes that just because it's not always helpful, it shouldn't be said. I understand that sometimes conversations need to be had, sometimes difficult conversations, sometimes discussions that, you know, will push us forward, even if in the interim they don't feel great. But I kind of don't understand what they were saying in this conversation. You feel like Madam Vice President does not show herself fully to the world, but you know, as professionals in entertainment, that you can't. I don't know what angle they feel like she should have taken that would have made people connect with her more, when we know that the biggest thing is really the fear of a black woman being president. I don't know how she could have moved around that. You know, she went to the cookout. She partied just a little, not enough to make you feel like, oh, she's rache, but enough to know that she has soul in there, you know. She smirked at a couple of the things. I don't know what they realistically expected from her. Anytime she gives you a little sister girl, people like flare up. It's the worst thing in the world. They act as if she's acting like Sexy Red out there, and it's nowhere near that. So I do wonder just what the expectation is of the first black, or if you biracial, if you want to stick to that, president. I wonder what they expected to do. She's an AKA that went to Howard University. That says a lot. We know what that pedigree means, so I don't know. Andy?
I think there's some folks, at least some black men, that still feel like, she was responsible for, locking a lot of black men in jail, and they're still holding her to that.
And it's so wrong. That's not necessarily what the case was. But then here's part two to that I never quite understood. We know that when people do something wrong, they should go to jail. Do you know? And I understand black people are sentenced harsher, longer, and all of those things. I do understand that. But at the same time, she even came out within her own San Francisco district and was trying to make adjustments to that so that it wasn't, they talked about it. I guess, for lack of a better term. Andy?
They don't care. They don't care. They just look at it like, man, you're supposed to be my sister. Like, at least, try to find some sort of, lenience or something like that. But people don't care, man. You taking me to jail. That's why there's a section of our people that love Trump because, Trump hooked us up with money and stuff like that, So
And he didn't. It's the government. I just... It is, I don't know what she could have done other than not be the woman that she is. She's too quiet. She talked too much. She's too out in front. She's too demonstrative. She's not demonstrative enough. It's just an impossible situation to be in.
I mean, I don't know what it is about, the black woman in a position of power, but hell, I remember when Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
Like she got flack just for having her arms displayed.
Folded.
You know what
Your
I'm saying?
arms out, like everything. It's just, it's just very hard. We'll have to see how it all evolves out. Renia Black says they canceled her years ago. Who would she connect with? Ronald Malone says both them cats drinking a lot of haterade. Yeah, I said it. Kendi said they were just yapping. They were. Forensic accountant says Lyndon Johnson had no shot, pardon the pun, at becoming president, but he kept his mouth shut and played his position. When his term came in, he was ready. And, Johnson did a couple of things. I mean, how he set up, oh God, I'm blanking, the phone call that he made during his presidency, but it was controversial because he basically was like, you are a good representative of a black man that we want. Is it Thurgood Marshall or someone on the Justice Supreme Court? I think it might be Thurgood. I think it was Thurgood. And, tact. People forget about tact, nuance, context. You can't go in like a lion if the shepherd is out there with the lambs. You just can't. You have to change your approach depending upon the situation. And I feel like people understand that, but I don't understand why they won't give Kamala that grace and what they really, really expect from her in some of these situations. Ronald Malone said she grew up right here in the city. That's where I'm from, Berkeley, the Bay. That's my homegirl. Shout out to the Bay Area Connects. Urban Spinster says some black folks are always looking for a way to hook up. I mean, listen, I feel like Kamala hasn't hit everything. We know she used to date Montel Jordan. You saw her on the red carpet in the pictures with Montel Williams, excuse me. Not This Is How We Do It. Montel Williams, the talk show host. My bad. We know that she was friendly with Willie Brown at a time. She didn't run from any of these things. She has conducted herself with grace. And again, not said too much. So sometimes I wonder what our brothers that have the platforms like this really, really expected from her. And we know, let's be real, the vice president position doesn't do a lot in the continental states. Their stuff is more international, and most people don't even know what the VP really does.
And, you know, I rock with Stephen A., but Stephen A., when he starts talking about politics, you would definitely think that he might be on the right side of things.
I could see a little bit.
Actually, a lot.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, here's the thing. Here's the reality, I believe, that when you get a lot of money, a lot of the Republican ideas start to make sense to you, you know, because it is about your bottom line, and there are things within it that protect that. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Stephen A.'s making a lot of money. He might feel a little differently about some of these things. Forensic Accountant says VP Harris is doing exactly what she should be. I agree. I don't think that there's a way people will be happy just by nature of the fact of who she is, you know? That's just the reality. Renia Black says, see all the examples tonight of us bashing us. Shaking my head. We over-scrutinize in every way. We do. But I think a lot of that is rooted to some degree in a form of escapism. In that, you know, one of the things that social media has done, even though it has opened up our world in a way to expose us to different things, you know, backed up our attention span, but opened things up, it also has allowed people to operate in a vacuum a bit, so that you're in your own echo chamber. You can curate with the algorithm so that you only hear from people that are in your same thought process and on your same type of time and wavelength. So they feel the critiques that they're putting out and listening are really the critiques that everybody feels, instead of a more balanced approach. We're in it. It's an interesting political career. We don't know. And I want to say this is a random, because we know that with the TikTok ban and how important TikTok is going to be to some of the nominees in various categories as far as reaching a younger voting base, right? But the thing also that you have to think about with some of this stuff is we're so ripe for manipulation. That, again, is what makes some of these things scary. We just don't know. We saw what happened in 2016 and 2020. We know intimately now how the bots were sent in and to do this stuff. Now, with the addition of AI, and we see that, listen, these campaigns are definitely paying certain people to, you know, lean into certain ideologies, right? And it's complicated. So I think about some of that stuff too when, I mean, we know they just want TikTok to sell too, where they have more, you know, propaganda, because we don't have the propaganda films like we used to in the 30s and 40s for World War II. So they have to figure out another way to get that out to us. But at the same time, I do think acting as if there is no credible danger attached to it, or that you don't understand that, and there is something scurvy a little bit happening with our data. And yes, I know we do it too, but you know, there's supposed to be some benefits of home, right? When we come forward, we'll get into more trending topics and headlines. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick! Sorry, kids! Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So we talked about briefly last night that 50 Cent is suing his liquor distribution company. We know that Diddy, prior to all of his other legal drama, was suing the parent company for Ciroc and DeLeon. They have since come to an agreement, a settlement. And if you remember, a few years back, Jay-Z had to sue his parent company for Ace of Spades. So what is the situation that seems to be happening with our alleged, I mean, I don't know what you would call it. I guess technically they're sort of have come out to be not necessarily partners in all of these business ventures. Sometimes they are. Sometimes it may seem like a branded content deal. I'm unsure. But why is it that all of these big collaborations with big names seem to end with having to take the distributor to court over improper accounting, improper profits, price gouging, things of that nature? It is a curious thing to see happen. And, you know, we talk about ownership and collaboration and connecting with people, and that is how you grow. You have to, you know, give up a little bit of something in order to gain things, oftentimes with these connections and situations. But why does it seem, at least when it comes to the spirits industry, that we always end in litigation and on bad terms? But you look at someone like George Clooney, who sold Casamigos a few years ago, and there's some other lines that are celebrity endorsed or involved that are on the, you know, more caucastic side of the equation, that don't seem to go through the same type of struggles as far as business and things of that nature. And again, these are people that are not new, starting out, or young and particularly green as far as business goes. They've been involved in millions and $1 million deals, or been involved with these businesses for quite some time. But yet, at the end, it always seems to end up as something wrong with pricing, not getting to the neighborhoods that it needs to or the stores to continue it. And I'm just curious why it continues to happen. It also made me think, different industry, but same concept, of Snoop Dogg and Master P's suit against Walmart and I believe is it Post Foods? Fact check me on that. That might not be the name of the food company, but that they are also having issues as far as distribution. And it's so interesting. They want to get in bed with us. They like the attention and, social, for lack of a better term, or whatever numbers that we bring in. But why does it seem like the business has so many issues on the back end? Feels like we should be past all of that tonight at this point in time. But alas, not really. So here's hoping that Fitty gets those issues worked out. We know Fitty's going to make it do what it do. If nobody else is, we know 50 Cent is. So shout out to him. Also, before I go, because it's almost Friday, there is new music dropping. So Flo Milli has dropped the remix to her song Never Lose Me. It features SZA and Cardi B. Sexy Red has dropped new music, and it's called Get It Sexy. She dropped it today because not only is today Pi Day, 3/14, it is also where is she from? St. Louis? St. Louis Day. I think that 314 is the area code. So shout out to them for that. And we know Cardi B dropped the video for her song Enough Miami. Cardi's coming. A new album is on the way. I feel it. And she also recently did an interview with Big Boy's Neighborhood. So, I mean, listen, she's out there in these streets trying to promote things. So we will see what happens at the end of the day. Listen, it is my sincerest pleasure having been here for RSVP with Jill Munroe for these past 9 months. I appreciate you all. If you listened, shared with a friend, gave a thumbs up, left a comment, I appreciate everything. Please continue to support the station. Please continue to stay tapped in. Continue to support me. I'm at Stiletto Jill everywhere. And I so appreciate it. Andy, I appreciate everything. Andy, always on point, always on theme for making everything here these past few months such an ease. I appreciate your support. Tavis Smiley, I have said this to you. I will say this to you again, but want to make sure again it is on air. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, for providing a platform for not just me, but everyone here at the station where we can have conversation amongst each other, invite others to the cookout, to the table, share, exchange, dialogue, and grow. I appreciate that. There are not that many places like this around, so you guys make sure that you support, stay tapped in, and lift it up. Thank you, Anouk. I appreciate you for checking in. I appreciate you loving the show. Rania, I appreciate you. She said Snoop could open his own grocery chain and Master P can sell his own goods for others. They can, but, look, it costs money, and everybody has to sometimes come together and pool their resources. Forensic accountant, listen, you have been a highlight. I appreciate you. Keep up the good work. Keep us in line as far as whatever's going on. I appreciate you. Thanks for everything, Stiletto Jill, a.k.a. Still Jill. Shout out to you. Listen, on the other side, the best of KBLA is coming up. Stay tapped in, and thank you, VIPs. It's been amazing. Have a great night.
It's getting too hot.
This is the last time.
I mean, for real. This has got to be the last time. It's going to be the best, though. Promise. Just one last time.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Thank you for sharing a part of your Thursday with us here on the Black Information Network. I'm Mike Moore. Now here's the latest. 3 men are facing